Hello and welcome to a quick tutorial video. I've gotten a lot of questions lately about measuring and figuring out the sizes of cards, and paper cutting for that matter. So I wanted to share how I do things, and maybe you can pick up a couple hints, or maybe just get started and maybe you can start understanding the whole measurements and how to make them work for you. Now, not everybody does this the same way that I do. This is just how I do it. So you may find that a different method works for you, or maybe even that you have to keep a printout on your work surface that tells you what size to cut things to. Either way, you'll find something that works for you. It just takes some time and patience. There will also be a printout PDF on the blog post for this day, and you can find that link in the sub bar here at YouTube. And you will be able to print that out and either just keep it in your desk drawer or whatever you need to do. So I'm just going to start out by showing you how to create a standard card and then the two sizes of mats that I usually use on cards. So I'm going to use this beautiful teal paper to make a standard size card. And I want to make, actually I'm going to make two. I'm just going to use this lovely teal paper to make my first standard size card. And this is going to be one that would be considered, in grade school you'd call this hamburger style. So if you were to fold the paper like this, you'd get two cards out of it. And that's basically what a standard size card is. It's cutting the piece of paper in half. So this is making the shortcut. And you can make a card either the shortcut or the long cut, whichever works for you. So this piece of paper measures 11 inches long, just like all other standard 8.5 by 11 cardstock does. And to make a card, 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So I'm just going to go to the 5-inch mark here, and then keep going. This is a 1/4 inch mark, and this is the 1/2 inch mark, since there are 4 marks per inch. So I'll just line it up with that. Make sure it's lined up both at the top and down the side. Don't just line it up with the top, because the top isn't always straight and the paper isn't always straight. So I've lined it up with this line going all the way down. There are also measurements down at the bottom here, but you can see that I have it lined up with this line, and I'm just going to cut it. And I really do like this paper trimmer because it has these great measurements along the side here. So next I'm going to make the card, and all you do is fold this in half. I usually use my score board, but you can just use your fingers or a bone folder, whatever works for you. And so now my card is exactly 1/4 of a sheet of paper, as you can see here. And that's where the standard size card comes from. So I have this card that is 4 1/4 inches wide and 5.5 inches tall, which is just 8.5 divided by 2 and 11 divided by 2. Now next I'm going to make a long card, and the finished size will still be the same, but it will fold on the top instead of along the side like this one does. So I'm just going to take the measurement 8.5, because that's how wide this is, divide it by 2, and I get 4.25. So I go to the 4 and then go one line over, because that is the 1/4 inch mark. Line it up all the way down and cut with my paper trimmer. And as you can see here, it's exactly half. You get 2 cards out of each piece of paper, and they match perfectly. So now I can just fold this in half, and there we go. It opens from the top, and it's the same exact measurements as this card is. See? So they're both a 1/4 sheet of paper. It just depends on which way you cut it. So now that I have my standard size cards, I want to make maybe my image be on a background on my card. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this lovely neon green paper and cut it down so that there is a 1/8 inch border all the way around. So in order to figure that out, you just take the 4.25 measurement and subtract 1/4 inch, because 1/8 of an inch is half of a 1/4 inch. So if you look on here, you can see that it goes 3, and then this big line is 1/4, but this little line right here is 1/8. So we want this 1/8, the little line, all the way around the card, so we double it. And that's how we get the measurements for this. We're going to cut it 4 inches. So we're going to line it up by 4, which is just 4.25 minus 1/4 of an inch. Just go to the 4 and cut it. And then 5.5, which is the other measurement of the card, right here, minus 1/4 inch is 5.25. So we just go to 5 and then one more line over to 5 1/4. And we cut it down. Now, as you can see, there's a perfect 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And it's kind of narrow, but sometimes that's exactly what you want for a card. So that's our 1/8 of an inch. You just get it by subtracting 1/4 inch. Or you could get it by subtracting 1/8 of an inch twice from each side. So that's that. You can also make it a 1/4 inch border, which is my favorite kind. So instead of subtracting 1/4 inch from each dimension, now this time we just subtract 1/2 inch. We're just doubling it. So 4.25 minus 1/2 inch is 3.75. So we're going to go to the 3 inch marking here and then go 3 lines past it. 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. And we just line that up all the way down and cut. And then same thing again. We have the 5.5 inch measurement, so we subtract 1/2 inch and we get 5 inches. So we're just going out to the 5 line, line it up, and cut. So as you can see, now we have our 1/8 inch mat and our 1/4 inch mat, which also happens to be a perfect 8 inch mat to the one we just cut. So you can see there, or you can just do this and you have your perfect 1/4 inch mat around. Now you can use the same concept to make it a 1/2 inch border or even an inch border all the way down, and that's the basics of card cutting. So let me know if you have any questions. There will be a PDF link in the sub bar and on my blog post for this, where you can download these measurements, only they'll look more pretty. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope this answers your questions about paper trimming basics. Thank you for watching.